Let's go Bucs. Bucs Abroad, episode 10. Brought to you here in Atlanta. First mate Sheehy with me. And we got captain of the poop deck, Marcc Stats, joining us first time on Bucs Abroad. Welcome to the show. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great going into the second half of the year. Appreciate you boys having me on.
Sheehy, how we doing in Alexandria?
Doing well. Also feeling strong about the second half of the year. Good finish heading into the All-Star break. We got a good guest on. Been saving them, saving this one in the pocket. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
I'm fired up, and listen, 48-48 is crazy. But it's a disappointment at the same time. With how we were playing is just like we lost 20 games whenever a pitcher pitched 6 innings. Like, that's just ridiculous. We win 8 of those games. We're in a completely different spot right now. But 48-48, we're fighting. We're there. We're there. Sheehy, you said a couple episodes ago, it's over, it's over, it's over. It's never over in my head. And it's never been more back.
Listen, I have experienced this roller coaster all year. When the Pirates lose, it's doomsday for me here in Alexandria. Doomsday. When they win, they could win the World Series. It feels like, to me, the Buccos have just crawled back into this race, Undertaker style, back from the dead. I don't know if they lose a game the second half of the year.
It's a bold statement. Bold statement. But, All-Star Game weekend was this week. It's probably the 2 worst sports days in America. The Wednesday and Thursday post All-Star Game. Terrible. Nothing on, nothing. But we're back. Second half, All-Star Game happened. Home Run Derby, who cares? Paul Skeens starts the All-Star Game for the NL. Comes in, quick pop out to Quan, 100 miles an hour. Comes in, second batter, Henderson, grounded it out. And then freaking Juan Soto, Wilson Contreras dropped that third strike on purpose because he screws the Buccos all the time. He dropped that third strike on purpose. He wanted to give the people Judge versus Skeens, and guess what? It took 1 pitch. Skeens came in, shut it down, and then that's it. That's all I think Pittsburgh wanted. They pulled him with a no-hitter. Shut the hell up. Brian Reynolds got another hit. No duh. Sheehy, let's talk about the All-Star Game.
Yeah, the All-Star Game was good. I thought it was a little anticlimactic with the way Skeens went down. I mean, it was good to see him go 1, 2, 3, 4. Wilson Contreras dropping that pitch. I mean, you can hate Wilson Contreras all you want. I would give my left leg to have Wilson Contreras on the Bucs. The big showdown, Judge versus Skeens. I was hoping for a strikeout. Took 1 pitch. It was over. The next inning, Mason Miller, Bethel Park guy, kind of gave us the innings we wanted Skeens to pitch, but Brian Reynolds going 1 for 2 was the last out of the All-Star Game, but continues to just hit.
Stats, what you think?
I tell you what, I watched actually every single inning of the All-Star Game because obviously I was tuned in for Skeens, but there was nothing else on TV. Like you said, this whole week, it's like a dead week in sports. So I watched literally every inning. Contreras, I think you're both correct. He dropped it on purpose. She may be right. I guess I would take him, even though I hate him, right? He's just one of those dudes that kills the Buccos, so you hate him.
He would come to the Buccos and suck.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That might be a little too far, but I get where you're coming from. And honestly, one word to describe Skeens' first Judge, anticlimactic. 1 pitch, ground out. It was just anticlimactic. However, go ahead, Sheehy.
I mean, it was anticlimactic against Judge. I'm just glad we didn't have to wait till Game 1 of the World Series to see that.
That is fair. You know what's crazy? We open up this season next year. Our home opener is against the Yankees. It's going to be a rematch of the World Series. So that will be exciting.
Stats Undertaker style.
Oh, my back? But yeah, I would, let me add one thing about the All-Star game, and we can move on because who cares about the All-Star game, really? You know what my underrated favorite part of the All-Star game was? Hunter Green blowing it for the NL. Yes. That was amazing, watching him give up the 2-run home run. Because Red fans just like to chirp on Twitter and say, oh, well, our pitching rotation is going to be the best. Oh, Hunter Green greater than Paul Skeens. You're out of your mind. Hunter Green stinks. He blew it in the All-Star game. It was so amazing. I literally, celebrated like we hit a home run, and a walk-off home run or something. It was amazing. But that kind of sums up the All-Star game.
My last thoughts on All-Star week, I guess it's not weekend, but week. I'm over the home run derby. The format sucks. By the time the championship comes up, these guys have taken 1,000 cuts. It's not a true home run derby. I'm just over it. It's like the dunk contest. It's overdone. It's like the 3-point contest. It's overdone. Let's just get rid of the home run derby. I get that it's for the kids, but you know what? I could live with that.
Fair enough. One thing I'll end with is Ohtani's home run was just unreal. That was just a freaking nuke to straightaway center.
He's so good.
He's just unreal.
Underrated part of that was them having Judge and Soto mic'd up in the field for it. And they were asking Judge or Soto, one of them, so how do you prepare against Ohtani? And then he just hits a monster home run.
He's money.
But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. We got a top 5 of the first half of the Pittsburgh Pirates, 48-48. Mark, first guest of the show, special guest. We'll let you kick us off with your top 5.
All right. I'm curious to see if we all have the top 5 same players and what kind of order we're going to put them in. I think there should be a debate for 1 and 2, but I do think we're not all going to agree. I'm rolling with Brian Reynolds, number 1, because he's been up here obviously, because he starts the year up here. Listen, Skeens has been incredible. I'm just going to say that he's number 2. They're really and truly 1A, 1B. I just think without Reynolds, we already struggle to put up runs. So without him, we would probably have less wins. But the same goes for Skeens. He's 6-0. It's really 1A, 1B, but I'm just going to lean Reynolds. Number 3 might come as a surprise, but this guy has literally been so big for us this entire year. Luis Ortiz might be the surprise of the first half. I think he deserves to be number 3. Obviously, my number 4 is not putting in Mitch Keller here because he's just been Mr. Consistent. He probably has an argument for 3. You can maybe give him an outside argument for 1 and 2 as well, but definitely have to have Keller at 4. And number 5 to round it out. It's crazy that his name is up here. But it's Rowdy. It has to be. This guy's career, season change. I've never seen anything like it. Anyone you talk to, national media, it's just unprecedented for someone to be hitting that poorly, being we all wanted to run him out of town, to literally being a key bat in the lineup and producing. He deserves to be in that top 5. I'm 100% certain of it. But curious to see how you guys agree or disagree.
Sheehy, can I go? Because we damn near have the same top 5.
Sure.
BR and Skeens are 1 and 2. I think, like you said, BR started the year. June was unreal. He deserves to be number 1. Paul Skeens, number 2. Number 3, I got Mitch Keller. I put him at the 3 spot. I think just Mr. Consistent. He's been paying off that contract perfectly. He's been awesome. Should have been an all-star. Should not have been Hunter Green in that spot. Mitch Keller would not have blown the game.
Facts.
Right there. Number 4, Luis Ortiz. That's a good argument, but I'm putting it to Nick Gonzalez. Nick Gonzalez kind of carried the offense for a short bit of time, and he is going through a little bit of a cold spurt here and there, but still every time I look up, he gets a hit. Nick Gonzalez, and in the field, he's been great in the field, turning double plays, making plays, catching fly balls, digging out ground balls. He's been since he's come up, that's been a huge spot that Jared Triolo, Sheehy's guy, would have been playing every day, and that would have been bad.
Bad.
He's my guy.
Bad.
And then number 5, it's Rowdy. Without Rowdy, and if he didn't go through that stretch, we would not be 48-48. We would not be. He had 7 home runs and 20 RBIs in 5.
He was our offense with Reynolds.
It was Rowdy and Reynolds. That was it in June and up until the All-Star break. And we're 48 and 48. Rowdy 100% deserves to be top 5. Honorable mention is O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz coming back from that season-ending injury, and he's been he hasn't been the superstar that everyone's talking about him to be, but he's been hitting the shit out of the ball. Like when he gets a hold of it, holy shit! He's had 2 ropers into the Allegheny this year, and he makes it. He's been having some errors in the field, sure, but I think he's been pretty solid, and I think he deserves to get an honorable mention.
That's fair, because if I had an honorable mention, I'm giving it to Gonzo. I didn't gloss over him, but just maybe because he cooled down recently. But when he first came up, the RBIs he was producing, it was critical for the team. Yes. So that stretch was huge.
Yep, sharp lists, boys. My number 1 here is Brian Reynolds. He's batting .284, 18 home runs, 61 RBIs. He's the reason the Pirates are in this position. He's been consistent all year. Oregon contract. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Even when he does slow down, he's still producing. So I think Brian Reynolds is your key number 1 guy in the first half of the year. Number 2, Paul Skeens, obviously. Paul Skeens' ERA when facing division opponents is 1.23. He's got a 1.90 ERA. Totally, yeah, he's got 11 starts, but my God, is he just the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, I remember all 3 of us remember Garrett Cole coming up with the Pirates. It's still not even close.
It's not the same.
No, it's not even close.
This hype is way more real.
He's just dominant. I don't want to keep going on about Skeens because we could honestly talk for 40 minutes about him. My number 3, Mitch Keller. He's been critical to this rotation. He's been solid. He had 49 straight starts going 5 innings. It came to an end last Sunday. That streak was going to come to an end, but an incredible streak in this era of baseball for Mitch Keller. Pirates aren't there without him. Number 4, everyone left him off the list, but Jared Jones, even though he's been out for the last he's got a month and a half, he's been very key. One of those guys that when you look at his stats, they don't jump off the page, but he passes the eye test. And if Paul Skeens didn't exist, Jared Jones would very well be the talk of baseball. He's 22 years old, wasn't supposed to make the roster. Career Pirate, came up in single A, double A, triple A. Been solid all year in every start that he's had. Sucks that we're missing him. But I think he's well-deserved number 4 here. I like that both of you guys mentioned Luis Ortiz because he almost made this list for me. He's had to start a lot of games. He's been that long relief guy. He's been solid, and nobody really knows about him outside of Pittsburgh. But now number 5 has got to be Nick Gonzalez. He's batting .265, 57 games. Came up with Skeens. Been playing well in the field all year. Consistent bat. Only going to get better with time. I hope the Pirates extend him. I think he's a good guy to have to build this lineup around for the future. You mentioned O'Neal Cruz in this. I got a lot to say about O'Neal Cruz coming up here. But, yeah, I mean, I agree with your guys' list. I think the Pirates' pitching rotation can rival anybody in the league. And this is why the Pirates need to go out and go now, because this rotation is just the best Pirates rotation I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about Luis Ortiz because I'm the only one who had him on the list, and I had him as high as number 3. His stats this year is 25 games appeared in with 3 starts, so he's pitched 66 and 2/3 innings. He has a 57 Ks, so only 19 walks. He's only given up 3 home runs, and his ERA is a 2.84.
Yep.
I think at the beginning he was doing that long relief. He had a big outing against the Marlins literally the opening weekend, and now recently he's giving us 2-3 nice, insanely nice starts, just dominating.
Starts.
It's been better than Martin Perez. It's been better than Priester. We all were probably I can't believe Rosny got just kind of dropped, and the Angels picked him up. He's struggling now for the Angels, so obviously they made the right call keeping around Luis Ortiz. I just think he's been so underrated for us this year. He's been a huge part, and I think he deserves a rotation spot right now moving forward for the second half. So,
yeah, Luis Ortiz is a guy the Pirates need to hang on to. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be looking to maybe package him if the Pirates do decide to buy, which they should. But he's a key part of this Pirates roster.
Well, we talk about the top five, and I talked about it at the beginning of the show. It was a disappointing season, and there's been a lot of disappointing parts of this 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates team. And I'll start us off with my biggest disappointment of the year, and it pains me to say, but we paid the guy. He won a Gold Glove last year, and he's been making great plays in the field now, but goddamn, I don't know if that dude can hit a baseball. I don't understand his hitting mechanics. He doesn't I don't see any good barrels, and I'm obviously talking about Ke'Bryan Hayes. Ke'Bryan Hayes' biggest disappointment at third base. He is just not producing. He's batting 8th, 7th in the lineup. It's just bad, and it's maybe he had a couple. He had 3 or 4 2-hit games, but he had his first double in 30 games at the last game before the All-Star break.
Well, that's what's funny about that. Before the last, the All-Star break, he was actually hitting the ball insanely well. That last series against the freaking White Sox and whoever the heck they were throwing. So is it translating? That's what I mean. Are they gonna? Is that going to translate to the second half? Was he just facing terrible pitchers? I agree with you, Ben. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes for me. He's 27 years old. I don't understand how the guy's back is absolutely toast at 27. He actually started off the year pretty nice. I thought he was going to be having a career year, but that's just me being optimistic. His glove is good, but you know what? Everybody's good in the MLB. We need some bats. Good pick, Ben.
All right.
I guess I'll go with my biggest disappointment of the year. I think it's a pretty easy one. There's 2 that I could list off the top of my head, but the first guy that comes to mind is Henry Davis. Henry Davis really, really sucks. The games he has played for the Pirates, he's batting 153. He's got 40 strikeouts, and he only had 1 home run. This is a guy the Pirates really needed to come in and play consistent, especially with Endy Rodriguez, who is the future of the catching position in this Bucco organization. Henry Davis, good riddance. We'll see you later. Should probably go catch for Trevor Bauer in the Mexican League. He doesn't deserve to be in this league. Has no parts of this organization, has no parts in my heart. The other guy I can't fail to mention here is Jack Sawinski. Just cannot figure it out. Both those guys, not big leaguers, big disappointments.
I agree with them both. I agree. To just give you mine was going to be Hank real quick. There's really nothing to repeat. I may not be as harsh on him as you, Sheehy. That was pretty brutal. I'm not totally ready to give up on him, but if he went to the Mexican League, he probably would put up he'd probably bat 450 and hit 20 homers in 10 games or something outrageous. Since Robinson Cano at 50 is dominating that league. So, yeah. But Jack too, this dude hit almost, I think it was 24, 25 home runs last year. I don't care if you're going to bat 220 or whatever, you got to put the ball in the seats consistently. And you were doing that last year, and you're not doing it this year. That's why he's a huge disappointment. But I think all those names, it's you pick and choose, right? They all, honestly, probably throw Michael A. Taylor in there too. Because you pay him. Yep. I mean, I get it's a cheap deal. He started off great, but now he's unplayable. Can't hit. There's a lot of people. You can, a lot of players right now, but we'll see if any of them turn it around.
Too much money for just the glove in the field. Too much money.
And I'll say this about Henry Davis. I don't think he can hit the ball to the right field side.
That's facts. He pulls everything. So he needs to figure that out, and that's going to be his biggest issue.
I wish they would have left him in right field.
Maybe, yeah. But we needed him to play catcher with Endy out.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a bum.
You know what? This kind of made me remember, and not to go back to top 5, maybe honorable mention Joey Bart.
Facts.
He, with Hank Davis going into the year thinking that's our starting catcher and what he put up and how terrible Grandal is, Joey Bart might have been a savior at that position for at least this year. Hopefully he can keep it up because he puts the ball in the seats and he plays good enough defense.
Good enough defense.
I actually like the addition of Joey Bart. I mean, say what you want about him. he came in with no expectations. I think he's been okay. He was not going to light this team up. I think he's been okay.
I think for the production that you were getting from Grandal, though, that's a huge upgrade.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, I could probably produce better than Grandal.
Fair, but it was Grandal and Hank Davis, and they both weren't producing like that good.
Yeah. Grandal can't even catch.
I don't even get. We don't need to go down that.
We don't need to talk about Yasmani Grandal.
I'm getting upset.
Upcoming huge series against the Philadelphia Phillies. It's Yinzer-Palooza back in Pittsburgh, and I heard from a little bird that Saturday at PNC is sold out, and I feel like people thought Paul Skeens was starting. I'm a gambling man. I could have bet my life savings on Paul Skeens not starting on Saturday. At the earliest he was going to start was Sunday. He's not. We got Martin Perez, Luis Ortiz, top 3 on Marc's list, and Marco Gonzalez, who had a fantastic outing in his first outing back in 60 games. Phillies are the best team in baseball. We play the NL East really damn well, and we're at home. So we got to hope we roll into the second half hot.
I saw the starting pitchers get released today. The more I think about it, I'm actually okay with that starting rotation for this weekend, solely because it's more important to beat the Cardinals and having your top guys go with the Cardinals. The Phillies are locked in. We're chasing the Cardinals. The Phillies are locked in. They're going to go in as the 1 seed. I think getting one win here is a win for the Pirates. They just can't get killed. I also saw that Saturday sold out. I also saw Friday is sold out, and there's a good chance Sunday gets sold out as there's already sold 30,000 tickets.
Yep.
Obviously, with the in-state game, got a lot of Phillies fans coming up there, a lot of scumbags. It's going to be interesting to see how the Pirates perform here, because if you want to prove that you are serious people, now's the time.
Yeah, I mean, I 100%. Like, when the starters came out, you got to initially think, okay, it does make sense because they're obviously going to have to manage innings, right? And they could maybe go to a 6-man rotation because you're going to have two young guys in Skeens and Jones, but you're going to continue managing their innings. And honestly, Keller's getting to that point because he's thrown like, I think, 111, a lot of innings already this year. So that's extra guy. Like, getting a good start from Ortiz, getting a good start from Gonzalez is huge. I think the key is, how do we come out and play Friday with Martin Perez? That's going to be the big game. I think I initially was like, we're getting swept. Their pitching may dice us up. Christopher Sanchez is going on, I think, Saturday for him. He's a nasty lefty for them. Aaron Nola on Friday. He's like 11-4. So yeah, there's a good chance that it's going to come down to the bats, but it is surprising though, because to Sheehy's point, you want to go for the Cardinals, right? And you want Keller and Skeens for the Cardinals. Theoretically, Keller did pitch less innings that last game, right? They took him out after 3 or whatever innings. You could have technically had him go Friday, the opener against the Phillies, and had him be the last starter against the Cardinals and have them double dip. So it's an interesting choice. We'll see if it pays off, but I'm just excited for the second half.
It's interesting. Is Keller hurt?
No, I don't. I really think it's an innings management. Like, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure he's at like 113 innings already. Like, that's a lot of innings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this All-Star break, Mitch Keller probably deserved to be there. I think that him having the break is going to be big for him. And I'm banking with this Phillies series, because their entire team was in the All-Star game, that they're going to come out a little bit sleepy this weekend. And Bryce Harper is cooled way down. He's cooled way down.
Ever since he's come back from that injury, he's cooled off. But to confirm, Keller has already thrown 114 and a third innings this year.
That's a lot of innings.
So it's 100% inning management. It does suck because they sold all those tickets thinking they were probably going to get a game of Keller and Skeens.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, it probably is ticket sales driven, because now they're thinking, well, we already sold all these tickets. It's Yinzer-Palooza weekend. Let's bump Keller and Skeens to the weekdays to sell more tickets.
You know that,
because that's how Nutting's mind operates.
You know that thieving hillbilly just could not help himself.
But listen, Marc said it. I'm excited for the second half, but if we don't make a move, I'm going to be disappointed. We cannot roll out the second half of this year with Michael A. Taylor, Jack Sawinski, and Josh Palacios. I like Josh Palacios. I do. But we can't have those
Not every day.
inconsistently. Cannot.
Yeah, I'm with you. They need to go for it here. I mean, you got this window right now. Even this season, you might not get a better chance because the National League is not going to suck like this forever. Two guys. I got two guys in mind that if they can turn it on here, even without adding much, because let's be honest, I got no faith in this organization adding anything super legitimate. I think they will go out and get somebody, but I don't know if that production is going to pick up the way that they need with what they're going to add. It'd be great to get a Brent Rooker. It'd be great to get a Jazz Chisholm. I don't know. I don't believe in them going to get him. Two guys here, though. If O'Neal Cruz can keep going the way that he has in the last 10 games, he's been batting .325 over the last 10 games. He's got 14 home runs on the year. If you can get 10 more home runs out of him for the rest of the season, I mean, 24, 25 home runs, that's a lot of production. And my second guy that I'm not sure what the Pirates' plan with him is. If they want to use him out of the bullpen or if they want to try and start him some games, I've liked him all year, even though his record doesn't reflect. Quinn Priester has looked good this past two outings. They're going to need him down the stretch here, especially if the Pirates make the playoffs and they go down to a four-man rotation. Him coming out of the bullpen could be really serious for the Pirates.
I actually agree with that. And this is where people are like, maybe you look to see if there's a market for a Martin Perez or Marco Gonzalez. Why not keeping them? Because if you have Perez, Gonzalez, Ortiz, Skeens, Jones coming back healthy, and Priester, and then Falter coming back, that's 7 legit starters that you have. 2 of them can get moved to the bullpen in long relief. You have Ryan Borucki coming back. Majinski has turned his season around. Kyle Nicholas has turned his season around. And then you still have Holderman, Chapman, and Bednar. Your bullpen and starting pitching is set.
Yep.
You don't need to trade for anybody.
And that's where the big money is going to be.
Yeah.
I actually think the Pirates I think the Pirates will trade Chapman. And to be honest, I'm okay if they trade Chapman. He's been okay. He's been solid. But I don't think the Pirates are going to miss him the way that some people think they will.
Some team is going to need a ninth-inning closer, and he could come in and fill that role.
That's fair.
Yep, he's on a rental contract.
Yeah, that's fair. But listen, bats like you said, Sheehy, is it dream scenario you get Brent Rooker or Jazz Chisholm coming to the Pittsburgh Pirates in the second half of the year? Yes. It seems like Bubba Chandler would have to be included in a Rooker trade, which that wouldn't be ideal. I don't know if I would like that. The other thing with Rooker is he's been playing a lot of DH, so it's really not solving your spot in the outfield. That's taking away Kutch, but that's a whole nother conversation. Is Kutch really earned having a lock in a lineup every single game?
Yeah.
That's probably a whole different, argument that we could have for 10, 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Bubba Chandler is it's like you could trade him. I'd be okay with them letting Tamar Johnson go if it's a big deal. Only for a big ticket would I let somebody like that go. Same with Bubba Chandler, especially if they believe in Braxton Ashcraft the way that they've been talking about.
And that's another arm to watch out for this year. That's a great name to bring up. That's another arm. So, you know what? It might be we are going to trade a Martin Perez and then a Aroldis Chapman because then we're going to call up Ashcraft. We're going to get healthy, and we still have the arms, and maybe that helps you get a different bat, Probably not a Brent Rooker, maybe whatever you can bring. Like I said, Rooker's dream scenario. I think there is no excuse for them to do these trades, though. I don't understand why Jazz Chisholm isn't, on the Pirates already. That trade, I think, can easily can happen with the pieces that you have in the minors that you can still be like, you know what, we aren't going to give up a Bubba Chandler and keep some of those guys back. 2 names that I would welcome as trade targets if we got a Jazz Chisholm, someone like that, a Brent Rooker to pair with. Them on their own, I'm like, that's not enough. Mm-hmm. Jesse Winker and Tommy Pham. If you paired one of them up with like I said, a Jazz, that's a home run. because now you have your everyday center fielder in Jazz. You can play Jesse. Then you have Palacios, Winker / Pham, and Connor Joe for your right field spot. And then Connor Joe can also move to first if you're facing the left. You can play matchups. So we'll see what we do. We'll probably end up doing nothing, and we'll all be, bitching.
We'll probably just trade for Tommy Pham, and that's it.
And then we'll trade away Chapman still, and then I'll be like, what? This makes zero sense.
They're going to feed us some BS on we're going to go all in 2025 if the right opportunities present. And I bet you those opportunities don't present.
The thing is, with a trade, I want a trade to be a guy under contract for a few years.
That's why Jazz fits.
I don't want a rental. I want a guy at least till 2026.
What's crazy is Rooker, Jazz, and Luis Robert would all fit that.
And we have the pieces to make that happen.
See, I'm a guy with Luis Robert. I think whoever gives up the King's ransom for him, I think he disappoints. I really do. I don't know. I just watched him in that Pirates series against the White Sox. He didn't do anything.
He also plays on the worst team in baseball.
He does, but
he was the only batter to get on base the one game.
Yeah, and obviously, he stole second base like nobody's business.
That's right.
It was crazy how easy.
Exactly. You got to think of him as someone who's like, all right, if you inject some juice in, not legit like steroids, that sounds terrible, but maybe bring him back. Maybe bring him back. But you know what I mean? Like, you inject some life and energy into him. Yeah. Coming to a ball club that's fighting for the playoffs, has like a Paul Skeens to get behind and a Brian Reynolds, that can change it. He might, next thing you know, be batting 240 and hitting home runs left and right and stealing bases every time he gets on. So
we're really looking for where's the next Marlon Bird.
That might be Jesse Winker. No joke. He's playing actually well this year. But we said, we can't just be trading only for Jesse Winker or Tommy Pham. That would suck.
That would suck. But huge second half. I can't wait. We actually are in it. I can't believe this show has been. And we're 500. We're 500. We made it. And we're here. We're ready for a big second half. And we'll finish the show like we always do with a random Bucko of the week. I'll kick us off here. I got mine. Rod Barajas.
I'm happy you went first because I almost picked that and said, you know what, I got to give a shout out to the homie Bean, Rob Barajas, but that's a great one. I'll go though. I'll since I'm talking, I'll just give mine. Hopefully it wasn't given on before by a guest or anyone. Gorky's Hernandez.
Yep.
That's a name for you.
That's a fucking name.
My random Bucko here, it's random. It's not super random, but since we just talked deadline and we need someone to inject some life into this team, hard to argue there's been a Pirate that has gotten – or Pirates picked somebody up at the trade deadline. Like this guy, won 43 games for the Pirates in 4 seasons, got the Pirates out of the postseason drought. A.J. Burnett, one of my favorite Pirates of all time. The Batman.
Batman.
He was epic. And
sit the fuck down.
Is going to be October is coming back. I can feel it in my bones. Paul Skeens starting game 1 of the wild card in Milwaukee, and we're going to shit on the Brewers. Let's go, Bucs. Thanks to Marc for joining us all the way in Cleveland. Sheehy, as always. Let's go, Bucs. I'm thinking a sweep.
6-game sweep to start the season.
Let's go.